In a gripping tale of resilience and justice, we delve into the harrowing story of a talented woman who triumphs over adversity in the unlikeliest of places. A rap battle. What starts a night of lyrical prowess quickly spirals into a nightmarish ordeal. This story will take you through the chilling events, the fight for survival, and the quest for justice that followed. 2. Who were the perpetrators and what drove them to commit such heinous acts? 3. How did the victim manage to survive such a brutal attack? 4. What role did the community and law enforcement play in seeking justice? 5. How did this event impact the local rap scene and the wider community? This story is not only a testament to the indomitable spirit of a survivor, but also a powerful reminder of the importance of justice and community support. Through this narrative, we honor the strength of those who stand up against violence and fight for what is right. The underground rap scene of this beachside city was a pulsating hub of creativity and raw talent. By day, the city thrived with tourists basking in the sun, but by night, it transformed into a vibrant haven for artists, musicians, and poets. Only 5% of those who watch my videos are subscribed. If you are enjoying my contents, please subscribe, as this helps me a lot. Thank you, and enjoy this video. Hidden within dimly lit basements and makeshift stages, the rap battles were where local legends were born and reputations were fiercely defended. In these intimate spaces, the air buzzed with anticipation. The crowd, a mix of avid fans and curious newcomers, gathered close, creating a charged atmosphere that seemed to breathe with the rhythm of the beats. This was the proving ground, where words were weapons and flow was king. Among the regulars was a young woman known for her sharp wit and lyrical dexterity. Her presence commanded attention, not just for her undeniable talent, but for her fearless confidence in a male-dominated scene. She had earned her place, battling and besting competitors with a style that was both poetic and powerful. The night in question was no different. The venue was packed, the energy electric. Everyone knew this would be a battle to remember, with some of the best talents going head-to-head. Little did they know, the events that were about to unfold would leave an indelible mark on the community, forever altering the course of their beloved scene. The room was alive with excitement as the night's main event drew near. The crowd huddled closer to the makeshift stage, eager to witness the lyrical showdown. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, each beat of the DJ's music building the tension. This wasn't just a battle, it was a statement, a chance for each competitor to prove their dominance. As the young woman, known to the crowd simply as Lyric, was a favorite. Her reputation had been built on razor-sharp wordplay and a delivery that could silence any doubter. She was cool, composed, and ready. Her opponents were no slouches either. 3 men who had made a name for themselves through aggressive rhymes and dominating performances. They were confident, cocky even, knowing the crowd expected a fierce contest. The battle began with a flurry of verses, each participant taking turns to spit their lines. The room erupted with cheers and jeers, the crowd feeding off the intensity of the competition. As each round passed, it became clear her words cut deep, her rhythm impeccable, leaving her opponents scrambling to keep up. By the final round, Lyric had cemented her dominance. The crowd roared in approval as the judges declared her the winner. It was a triumphant moment, a testament to her skill and resilience. However, beneath the surface, resentment brewed among her defeated opponents. The stage may have been hers that night, but the events that followed would prove that not everyone was willing to accept her victory graciously. The energy from the battle still lingered in the air as the crowd began to disperse. Lyric, basking in her victory, was surrounded by friends and fans offering congratulations. She had proven herself once again, and the night felt like a triumph. However, in the shadows, a different sentiment festered. The 3 men she had defeated lingered near the back of the venue, their expressions dark and brooding. The humiliation of losing to a woman, especially in such a public and decisive manner, gnawed at their egos. Their defeat wasn't just about losing a battle, it was a blow to their pride, their standing in the community. As Lyric made her way out of the venue, the men approached her under the guise of a friendly conversation. At first, their words seemed cordial, congratulating her on her win, but there was an undercurrent of bitterness in their tone, a barely concealed anger that hinted at something more sinister. The conversation quickly turned confrontational. They accused her of showing them up, of disrespecting them in front of everyone. Lyric, refusing to back down, held her ground. She had won fair and square, and she wasn't about to apologize for her success. The men, however, were not interested in reason or fairness. Their resentment boiled over, and what started as a verbal confrontation soon escalated into something far more dangerous. The night that had begun with celebration was about to take a dark and violent turn, one that would test Lyric's strength and courage in ways she had never imagined. The confrontation escalated quickly as the men's bitterness turned into blind rage. Under the cover of night, they cornered Lyric in a secluded alleyway, far from the bustling energy of the venue. The atmosphere shifted drastically, from a place of celebration to a scene of terror. The men's words were filled with venom, their earlier humiliation driving them to unimaginable cruelty. Despite her fear, Lyric refused to show weakness. She stood tall, her defiance only fueling their anger. What followed was a brutal and senseless attack, an eruption of violence aimed at breaking her spirit. They beat her mercilessly, their fists and feet delivering blow after blow. But Lyric's resilience was remarkable. Even in the face of such brutality, she fought back, determined not to be a victim. Her strength was undeniable, but the odds were heavily stacked against her. As the assault continued, one of the men produced a gun. The flash of metal in the dim light was a chilling sight. In a moment of sheer desperation and cruelty, they shot her, the sound of the gunfire echoing through the empty streets. Believing they had silenced her for good, the men fled the scene, leaving Lyric for dead. But Lyric was not ready to give up. Wounded and in excruciating pain, she summoned every ounce of her willpower to survive. Crawling through the darkened alley, she made her way toward the faint lights of a nearby street, determined to find help. Her ordeal was far from over, but her spirit remained unbroken. This was not how her story would end. Bloodied and battered, Lyric clung to life with a fierce determination. Each movement was agonizing, her body screaming in pain from the assault and the gunshot wound. Yet her will to survive overpowered the pain. She knew that staying in the alley meant certain death, and her only chance was to reach the safety of the main street. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she dragged herself toward the distant glow of streetlights. He kept reaching for her chest. She felt when she couldn't think through it. Her vision blurred, and her limbs felt heavy, but she refused to give in to the darkness threatening to engulf her. The sound of her labored breaths echoed in the quiet night, a testament to her unyielding spirit. After what felt like an eternity, Lyric finally reached the edge of the alley and collapsed onto the sidewalk. Her presence startled a passerby, who immediately called for help upon seeing her condition. Within moments, the street was alive with concerned onlookers and the wail of approaching sirens. Paramedics arrived quickly, stabilizing Lyric and rushing her to the nearest hospital. Her injuries were severe, but her survival was nothing short of miraculous. As she was wheeled into the emergency room, she knew that her fight wasn't over. She had survived the attack, but now she would have to summon the strength to seek justice. Word of the brutal assault spread rapidly through the community, sparking outrage and a call for action. The city that had once been her stage now became her support system, rallying behind her in her time of need. Lyric's story was far from over, and her journey toward justice was just beginning. As Lyric lay in the hospital recovering from her injuries, the wheels of justice began to turn. The police were quickly notified of the brutal assault, and an investigation was launched. The gravity of the crime and the public outcry ensured that the case received immediate attention. Detectives visited Lyric in the hospital to gather her statement. Despite her physical pain, she recounted the harrowing events with remarkable clarity, providing detailed descriptions of her attackers. Her testimony became the cornerstone of the investigation, painting a vivid picture of the violence she had endured. Meanwhile, the crime scene was thoroughly examined. Forensic experts scoured the alleyway for evidence, collecting anything that could link the perpetrators to the attack. Blood samples, bullet casings, and even fragments of clothing were meticulously documented, each piece a crucial part of the puzzle. The investigation also relied heavily on witness testimonies. Several people from the rap venue came forward, recounting the tension between Lyric and her attackers after the battle. These accounts helped establish a motive and timeline, further tightening the noose around the suspects. The community played a pivotal role, too. Word spread quickly, and tips began to pour in. People who had seen the men lurking near the venue or fleeing the scene provided valuable leads. The sense of solidarity and determination to see justice served was palpable, as the city rallied behind Lyric. With mounting evidence and a strong case building, the police were closing in on the suspects. It was only a matter of time before those responsible would be held accountable for their actions. Justice was within reach, and the community's resolve to see it through was unshakable. The police worked tirelessly, piecing together the evidence and following the leads provided by witnesses and the community. It wasn't long before they identified the 3 men responsible for the heinous attack. Armed with arrest warrants, law enforcement moved swiftly to apprehend the suspects. The arrests were a significant moment for the community. News spread like wildfire, bringing a mix of relief and anger. The men were taken into custody without incident, their arrogant demeanor from the night of the rap battle replaced by a sullen silence. Their mugshots were plastered across local news outlets, a stark reminder of the violence they had inflicted. As the suspects were processed, the police held a press conference to update the public on the progress of the case. They praised the bravery of the victim and the community's cooperation, emphasizing that justice would be pursued relentlessly. The arrests were seen as a victory, a testament to the power of solidarity and determination. In the days following the arrests, more details about the men emerged. Their criminal histories, connections to the local rap scene, and the events leading up to the assault were scrutinized. Public outrage continued to grow, fueled by the sheer brutality of the crime and the fact that the men had shown no remorse. For Lyric, the arrests marked a turning point. Though she was still recovering physically and emotionally, knowing that her attackers were behind bars gave her a sense of closure. The fight wasn't over, but the first step toward justice had been taken. The community stood by her, ready to support her through the trials that lay ahead. The trial began amid widespread media attention, with the courtroom packed with supporters, reporters, and members of the community eager to see justice served. Lyric, though still recovering, appeared strong and resolute, determined to confront her attackers and ensure they were held accountable. The prosecution presented a compelling case, meticulously laying out the events of that fateful night. They detailed the escalation from the rap battle to the violent assault, supported by forensic evidence, eyewitness testimonies, and Lyric's powerful account of the ordeal. The bullet casings, blood samples, and security footage all painted a damning picture of the defendant's guilt. Lyric took the stand, her testimony a crucial moment in the trial. With poise and courage, she recounted the brutal attack, the fear she felt, and her desperate struggle to survive. Her words resonated deeply with the jury and spectators, highlighting not only the physical trauma she endured, but also the psychological scars that would take a lifetime to heal. The defense attempted to downplay the severity of the attack, suggesting that the confrontation had been a misunderstanding or an act of self. However, their arguments faltered in the face of overwhelming evidence and the emotional weight of Lyric's testimony. The jury saw through their tactics, recognizing the cruelty and premeditation of the crime. Throughout the trial, the community's support never wavered. People gathered outside the courthouse daily, holding signs and chanting for justice. Their presence was a constant reminder of the collective demand for accountability and the strength found in unity. As the trial drew to a close, both sides delivered their final arguments. The prosecution urged the jury to deliver a verdict that reflected the gravity of the crime, while the defense continued to plead for leniency. The jury's decision now rested on the evidence presented and the undeniable courage of a woman who had fought against all odds for justice. The judge proceeded with the sentencing, condemning the men to lengthy prison terms without the possibility of parole. The sentences were harsh, reflecting the brutality of their crimes and the impact on Lyric's life. The judge's words were firm, emphasizing that such acts of violence would not be tolerated and the perpetrators would face the full extent of the law. As the gavel struck, signaling the end of the trial, tears of relief and triumph flowed from Lyric and those who had stood by her throughout the ordeal. The community's unwavering support had helped carry her through the darkest moments, and now they shared in her victory. Outside the courthouse, supporters erupted into applause and cheers, celebrating the outcome. The verdict sent a powerful message. Justice would prevail, and those who sought to harm others would be held accountable. Lyric's strength and courage had not only brought her attackers to justice, but had also inspired a community to stand united against violence. The local rap scene, once tainted by the actions of the three men, was transformed by Lyric's courage. Many artists, both men and women, rallied around her, and the culture of the community shifted toward inclusivity and respect. What had once been a space of rivalry and competition now had an undertone of solidarity, with a collective focus on lifting each other up rather than tearing each other down. The case also sparked a broader conversation about violence against women, particularly in the entertainment and artistic communities. Activists and advocates used Lyric's story as a rallying cry, urging for stricter protections and greater support for victims of violence. Her ordeal became a symbol of resilience, not only within the rap scene, but across the wider society. As the years passed, the memory of that night became a distant one, overshadowed by Lyric's achievements and her role as a beacon of strength. Though the pain would never fully disappear, she had reclaimed her narrative, and in doing so, she had transformed from a victim into a symbol of empowerment. The community had not only supported her through the darkest time in her life, but it also helped her find the strength to rise again. If you enjoyed this dive into the mystery, don't forget to subscribe to True Crime OCS for more chilling stories from history's darkest corners. Drop your thoughts, theories, and questions in the comments below. Let's untangle the truth together. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.